Well, let's call the meeting to order. And Jennifer, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll have the clerk to call the roll.
Walter Donnett,
Present.
Troy Chasana,
Here.
John West,
Here.
Jennifer Zorn,
Here.
Lee Tracy.
Here. And the minutes will also show that Attorney Van Larson is here and our videographer is also with us, Audrey. Our next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of it's the January meeting.
Move that we approve the minutes of the January meeting.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any additions, corrections, questions? That makes it simple then. Not hearing any additions or corrections, have the clerk call the roll on the approval of the minutes of the January meeting.
Donnett,
Yes.
Chasana,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Zorn,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is a supervisor's report, and there's a copy of it. Just let me highlight a few things. One of the things has to do with the checking accounts, and we have the checking accounts as of January 31st, and I also provided updates as of yesterday. It simply shows that since the end of January, there's $7,537.40 has cleared the bank since then. I just wanted to also outline that. So there's a total, as of yesterday, in checking accounts of $1,101,959.77. It's also instructive that in January, there was interest earned of $4,096.34. The interest earned in 2024 was a total of $25,615.08. So we're earning a fair amount of interest, which is good. You have budget reports. Let me just comment that the general fund is a little bit short of where it ought to be. The result of that is that we're going to hold off on some payments until the next fiscal year, so we don't exhaust the budgets for this current fiscal year. And general assistance, there's a difference between what's in the bank and what's budgeted. So there's sufficient money in the general assistance bank account to pay for the rest of this fiscal year. It's worth noting, however, that we don't get revenue until August, September, October. June may get it in June. So
July for sure.
July. So we need to make it a period of time before there's any tax revenue coming in, and there's plenty of money in the checking accounts to cover that. I should want to mention that you might, and there's a lot of stuff going on for us in the next few months. We have completed the audit for the fiscal year 2021-2022. We've begun the audit of 22-23. Yet to be done is the audit for fiscal year 2023, 2024, and 2024-2025. So there's lots of, and the audits, they've started, it's going more quickly than the first one. I did want to mention that your statements of economic interest, you'll find out information in April, in March and April, from the county.
Yeah, they've sent out an initial notifier.
Yep. And I want to mention that our case with the Illinois Department of Human Rights has been dismissed. However, there's a right of appeal until May the 5th. We'll further discuss that in executive session. It's worth noting that even though the consolidated election is in April, the township officials, the supervisor, clerk, and trustees don't take office until May 19th. So the first meeting of the newly elected officers will be June. Any other questions? Any questions about bank statements, banking, budgets, or the budget for this year? Good. Next item on the agenda is assessor's report. No, approval of bills, I'm sorry. Why don't we take the approval of the bills for the road district first? Is there a motion to approve the payment of the road district bills in the amount of $27,240.24?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, discussion? Good. Then let's have the clerk call the roll on the payment of the Batavia Road District bills in the amount of $27,240.24.
Zord,
Yes.
Donnet,
Yes.
Chisana,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. And then we have a payment of the general and assessor bills. Is there in the total amount of $61,583.92?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Good. Moved by Wes, seconded by Tusana. Any questions about any of these? No? Good. Then let's have the clerk call the roll on the payment of the general and assessor bills.
West,
Yes.
Zord,
Yes.
Donnet,
Yes.
Chisana,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. And then, the next item, I think, is the assessor's report. Do we have anything, Dan?
Yes. Currently, our board of review at the county level, Supervisor of Assessment's office, is completed, which means all the changes for 2024 assessment year should be completed. So we're beginning that 2025 year. We've added the new assessment year and ready to run reports, neighborhood reports with all the data, building information, lot, and look at sales, see where our assessed values are versus sales. And I'm currently valuing home improvements, so anyone who pulls it, we're getting a lot of permits, both for like remodeled kitchens, remodeled bathrooms, so I think people are trying to hang out. And, once you pull those permits and I value them, we turn it into the county, and then you get a 4-year tax exemption. So the assessment does increase, but you don't pay taxes on that portion for 4 years, as long as you reside in the home. If it's a rental property, you don't qualify. So that's what we're working on, and permits always come in. So we're steady busy all the time, so it's nice to be busy though.
Yeah.
So is the problem you had with the city solved now?
Permits?
Yeah, that they weren't giving you access to the permits?
Well, I mean, we're getting reports now, so it's better than what we were. We just have to call them, make an appointment, like, to review plans. So they pull them for us, and then we go through the folder. But usually, well, that's what Steve does, so. I mean, it's the best, if it's the best they can do, that's the best we can do too. So we're trying to work together, but now I guess it's computerized, so it might get more difficult. Which I don't understand, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I try really hard to work with them, and it's not the ladies in the office. They're great. It's whoever's higher up. There's just, I don't know if they understand the importance of us getting those permits. I mean, we can't drive out to properties every day and just see if they're occupied.
Right.
It's not practical. So, you know, sometimes we miss valuing because we don't have a permit. So we can only see what we see when we're out there. So we have to follow up a lot when we find stuff. So that's one of my goals, is to try to be more efficient with that and not miss properties. But it's not like it's a lot. There are some, and if we're in a, like for this year, if I have properties that were missed last year, like a new building, I can request omitted property, and they'll still get the tax bill for it. So I can still turn those in and get the tax revenue. So as long as I'm on top of it, then I get it. I'll see how it goes when they switch over, and just hope we can work together.
I think it being computerized would make it easier on you.
Well, I would think so. But that's not our end. We're not the one with the computer change stuff. So I don't know. Steve's been working with them, so he's more familiar. Steve said something to you too, right, the other day?
Well, going over some items they don't want to leave the office, he said.
Yeah.
So that's why he's down there
Yeah.
getting the data off of it.
Well, and because there's limited data on the actual report. It's like just a report that says, oh, they're doing a remodel. Well, what? You know, and we can't get inside. So we kind of have to play guessing games sometimes. So it can be a challenge. Do our best.
To be continued and worked on.
Yeah.
There's always room for improvement anywhere, so we'll get there.
All right. How about the road district?
Well, our work is apparently a lot easier than the assessor's work. More straightforward. We don't have to go through a lot of hoops. We've been enjoying the cold weather. The ground's froze, so we can get in and do a lot of tree trimming and not dig up the right away. And so we've been doing that. Well, we'll get stalled here with the snow on the ground, but we should be all set to go. This is kind of our slow time of the year. We service a lot of the equipment that's off-season equipment, and try to keep ready for the snow.
Well, you get some good work tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Maybe tonight.
It's more fun to plow 8 inches than 2 inches.
Yeah.
But
Anything else? Oh. All righty. Any trustee?
I have one.
Good.
all right.
I sat on a Zoom meeting for the 708 board this week, and they wanted to thank Batavia for being one of the townships that provided 100% funding, and they have received it all. And they were very complimentary to us, and they're moving right along, and everyone's tight, so.
Good.
That's all I got.
Does that imply that other townships don't provide 100% funding?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? They levy $100 and the township gives them 70?
I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what they meant by that, but some don't even pay. I mean, some aren't capable of paying.
I don't understand how they can levy and not pay, but then we can quiz other townships. I don't know. Okay. Anything else? I don't see any public, so I don't see any public participation. So I think we can move to the budget. Let me just mention what our time frame is here. We have a budget hearing in March at 6:45 before the regular meeting, at which time there could be public comment. We'll have an opportunity at that time, and then again, when we consider the budget and adopt the budget, to make changes if we need to. What I intend to do is to compile all the questions and comments and things that don't make sense and the numbers that don't match, and we'll get those corrected and out to you and here for the public in the next couple weeks, or the next week, really. Because the public notice says that the budget is here for review, and it is. 90. I think the easiest way to proceed, there are two documents that sort of summarize things. One is this sheet that is just a one-page sheet that shows that the total levy is $1,424,000. You have to add to that, I'm estimating personal property replacement tax of $15,000. We budget income for the assessor bonus, which if the assessor applies and qualifies and we get the money, then we pay it out. So we get the money, it's revenue. Yeah, this sheet. Okay. And then I'm projecting here at this point a carryover which largely comes from unspent money in the assessor's budget. And so we have a levy of $1,424,000. We've got additional revenue. I'm projecting a $43,000, which means that we're budgeting $1,467,000. The supervisor's office, and I've changed the name of some of these. Previously we called it the supervisor's fund and the assessor's fund. There's no such thing. There's a town fund. And so we're calling it now, in the report you will see supervisor's office and assessor's office. The supervisor's office budget is $640,000. The assessor's budget is $308,000. Mental health is what they asked us to levy, in which we did levy of $483,000. And the general assistance budget will be $26,000. The actual levy for general assistance is $16,000. And so what I'm suggesting we do is we take $10,000 from the assessor's office levy and we stick it over into general assistance, so that I'm hopeful that we can increase the amount of general assistance in the budget. We can restore emergency assistance. And I'm suggesting that we take the general assistance case manager salary and put it in the general assistance budget. So that the supervisor's office manager, case manager, part of the salary is going to come from general assistance.
So is that salary going to increase then?
Yes. Yeah, and there's an increase in the salary for that. It's actually in the budget. in the, what is it? Oh, well, it's embedded in wages, but there is an increase, well, there's several increases in the wages in the supervisor's office budget, because all of the elected officials there, and you folks very nicely gave a 12% increase to all the elected officials. And so the wages in the supervisor's office budget are a combination of elected officials and the case manager. All righty. Oh, there she, office manager. Is going to be in the supervisor's budget is $53,800.
And part of that is funded by the,
Yeah, part of it is in the general assistance budget. So that's kind of the general overview of things. I want to mention that Tammy and John West and I have met several times to go over the budgets of the supervisor's office and the assessor's office. And Tammy has worked diligently. And so what we're doing is building in the numbers that we came up with jointly and that she has come up with. Oh, there's some sheets which the budget reports for the next fiscal year will look a little bit different. We'll have some new categories. And what I'd like to try to do is to keep the categories similar between the supervisor's office and the assessor's office, so that in each of those ways there's wages, there's payroll expense, and in some detail it shows exactly what examples of what's in there. Wages are gross wages, payroll expense is the township share of employer paid taxes, the township share of IMRF, and insurance. Let's see. Given the outcome of the case with the Department of Human Rights, I have lowered the amount of legal expenses. I've increased accounting expenses because we've got a lot of auditing to do. Anything else? Any questions, concerns in general? And if there are things that need to be cleaned up, well, let me know. One of the things I am going to do is clean up the personnel costs, which some of the additional payroll costs, in some sense, don't seem to make sense. Walt has identified some that don't seem to make sense. Yeah.
Lee, quick question.
Yeah.
The protocol that you just finished explaining in quite good detail, has that been run by the accountants that we are now employing for the audits? Is it going to make it easier and more consistent for the accounting, annual accountings? As far as these transfers and reclassifications and renaming?
That won't make any difference.
That won't make
really.
any difference, okay.
No. The thing that I'm most concerned about with the auditing is the amount of time that it takes. and they require a lot of information from Sarah and myself. Plus we've had a lot of complications. We've changed payroll services. We've changed from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. There's been a number of changes through this period that have made the audit difficult, collecting the information that have made it hard to do. All righty. Anything else that anybody wants information about or has questions about? There's probably too much information.
So
It's a ton of it.
where did you put most of the legal funds to?
Well, they're now,
account.
they're now $10,000 in the supervisor's office budget.
Okay. Okay.
You say there are not?
They are. The budgeted amount for legal services in
Down
this,
$10,000.
now is $10,000. Oh, that's still there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
he spread it around.
okay.
Yeah, it's been spread around.
Can I ask about the assessor's bonus?
Yep.
What's the $3,000? Is that,
Well, what happens with the assessor's budget, Tammy can explain, but I can explain it as well. The state of Illinois offers assessors $3,000 as a bonus when they apply to the Department of Revenue,
Yes.
okay? And largely because of a change in the legislation that I worked hard on and was passed, is that now what happens with the assessor bonus is that the state of Illinois sends us $3,000 and we pay $3,000 through the payroll service. It used to be that they paid it directly
yeah.
But we were still on the hook for
for the payroll costs. So-
FICA and
yeah.
Medicare and all that stuff, which made bookkeeping,
Well, it's hard to,
computerized
Oh.
payroll system impossible.
well, it's hard to explain to the payroll service that you have to pay something on no income, on no wage.
So this solved that.
So now does she get $3,000 minus all of those expenses, or 3,000
No, we-
plus all those expenses?
We pay them. Still, just the same way as gross wages, all gross wages.
So 3,000 is considered a gross wage?
Yes. We also pay the IMRF portion.
Well, yeah, but before that, you were getting 3,000 cash in pocket, and then the
And
township
you
was
had to
paying
claim that in
expenses.
your own,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
All of
right.
it, yeah, I claimed it. Oh, yeah.
So the township didn't pay the withholding and the social security?
Yes,
Yeah, they did.
yes, we've always done
Well,
that.
it came out of my 3,000. It came out of my check when I got it. so-
Yes.
It always was a gross,
Yeah.
but just the mechanics of it were hard.
So I guess I'm confused as to then why it's in the budget if we're getting a.
Well, because we get $3,000 from the state of Illinois and we pay out $3,000 to Tammy.
Okay, so that should just be like,
Well, it's income and expense.
right,
Do they offset each
Well,
other?
you're just showing it.
But
because that's-
but
You're
just
just
accounting wise, you have to show it as
Yeah.
income and
okay.
expense.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like, yeah. Just wanted
Yeah.
explanation on why it was on the budget item. Makes sense.
Well, I got in trouble with other townships in Kane County. And they said, you caused us a problem, now we have to claim it as income. And I said, well, I'm sorry.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a
yeah,
legal document.
right.
Well, no, but it wasn't income to us before.
Oh, you mean the supervisor's office had problems with it?
They probably didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything with it. It was always explained as a
I see.
flow through, except we ended up having to pay the payroll taxes and IMRF.
Okay,
Best to be done.
some water.
Anything else?
Okay, this is gonna be probably a really dumb question, but I'm not good with fractions. The 1/3 and the 2/3 split, isn't it split between two people, so isn't that half and half? How does that
No,
work
no, no, no,
exactly?
No. Expenses that are common to, well, in other words, as an example. The rent and utilities, the BEI cost for this place
Uh-huh,
is split in two budgets. It's paid out of the, 2/3 of it is paid out of the assessor's budget, 1/3 is paid out of the supervisor's budget.
why isn't it just in half?
Well, because it's just a traditional, it's been done that way for a long time,
Oh.
largely based upon numbers of employees and square foot.
Okay,
Now, you know, There's lots of things that can be changed.
I just didn't understand
there's
why
a
it
lot
was,
to it.
there's only two offices, why is
Right.
it going by 3? I was trying to understand that, but that makes sense, okay.
Yeah,
So how's the
They
telephone
use
and
more of the
internet
other.
worked out?
same way.
But it's 5,000 versus 6,000.
Well, okay,
Sorry.
because there are different things in there. So that there are some there are some, well, I don't know why it's 3,000. In the general fund, it's $3,000. In the assessor's office, what is it in the assessor's office?
General fund, it's $5,000.
Yes,
And the assessors, it's 6.
well,
No, assessors is.
because there's some additional costs to the assessor's office.
Okay, I was just looking at this.
Oh,
For example, you get a bill from Brian Cole for the website. That goes in the assessor, in the supervisor budget. You get a bill when he maintains the computers for this office, and the assessor's office is split. Or computers themselves.
Are you splitting the, like, what if you have income and you don't? Do you pay part of that?
And you could,
Well, it all depends on
Why?
what, it all depends on what is, it actually depends on what is done. Generally speaking,
Check my invoices.
you can check it. Okay, no, if you have a,
Well, I
If you have
mean,
a-
it's kind of vague what you're saying, so it's kind of like I'm paying.
show me,
you should invoice each of the separately.
He should. He typically does as far as I know.
whether there's sometimes, well, yes. You have to figure out from the invoice how to account for it.
I will have Brian work on that, so that I know exactly what services I'm paying for versus what I'm getting.
yeah,
Okay,
makes
Fixes
sense.
your computer, he charges you. If he fixes
Well,
it, he charges
that's the way it
you.
should be.
yes, and that is the way generally it is done.
Okay.
If you show me an invoice that has not been
I
accounted
don't
for.
have any invoices. You guys have them.
You get invoices directly from Brian Cole,
I'll check the ones that I have.
okay? Or ask, or
I don't,
ask,
you know, it's just going forward. I just want to make sure I'm paying for what services we're using.
okay.
I don't want to be billed for you calling
Then-
Brian for your computer.
Then you
That's
need,
not right.
then you need to speak with the supervisor, and you need to speak with Sarah, who
I
does
should
the
not
accounting.
have to speak on behalf of what's in my budget and what's being spent maybe by others. That's not appropriate.
If you have a problem, speak to me for the next several months, and speak to John in the next term.
I'll just move forward with John.
Anything else? And the,
No, I'm good.
we're good. If there are things that you have questions about that need to be cleaned up, if there are areas where the numbers in one place don't match the numbers in another place, let me know. And I will clean up the document itself, which is the main thing. All this other stuff is just supportive information. How about the, anything? Are we ready for the road district? Chris Long wants us to move along. Any questions about the road district budget? I'm sure that Chris will be very happy to give you all the detail.
The accounting that you have budgeted, the $25,000 for, is that for some of the
Audit,
audit? Okay.
Yeah, the audit.
the audit.
The audit.
I got, I'm figuring 2 years we get bill for this year,
Okay.
25, 26.
You have a separate audit?
No, it's just all the
No.
same.
We just split it.
Do they spend more time?
Well, I haven't kept track of the amount of time that they spend auditing the road district record as opposed to,
You sure know how to split 2/3 and 1/3.
oh, come on.
I didn't bring it up.
I know I
Someone
did,
else
I'm sorry.
You
No,
want to change?
I was
No,
trying to
Penny
understand.
brought it up.
Maybe
I-
I'm paying too much, maybe some of that should.
Maybe,
go
I'm
in
gonna
the
remeasure
assessor's
this
budget.
joint.
There you go. It's a big circle.
Common area is the bathroom. We're paying for
I'll
that.
tell you what, perhaps in the future, we can take every single invoice that comes in. You can look at it and decide how much you need to pay.
I'll talk to John.
Okay. Anything else? Nobody's trying to steal money from anybody else.
It's not stealing. Nobody said anything about stealing.
Well,
Appropriating
inappropriately.
funds appropriately. I shouldn't be charged for someone else's stuff. I just shouldn't.
How about if we share stuff, like the copy
We do.
machine,
We do.
like the phone system?
We share everything, but we pay more because we have more people.
We can,
So is there a feeling, you have a feeling that you're being overcharged for something?
Perhaps after
What?
the comment he made about the computers, I mean, that they're told me it's like I'm being charged split for if they have Brian come in. It's not cheap. It adds up. This is
And
the
in the
whole.
past, it's been coming in and you've just not
I
looked
get
at it?
my invoice, yeah, but I don't know what, I'm not comparing because I don't get theirs.
Do you measure your invoice against your budget?
I'm going to right now on that one for
But
sure.
in the past, you haven't?
Yes, I have, but they're,
Anything improper that you've noticed?
no, not done, but there might be now.
can we deal with this, in the future, simply ironing out the procedures for accounting? I mean, no one's opposed to keeping track of appropriate accounting procedures.
It
That's what this is all
would seem to
about.
be appropriate when a bill comes in that's going to be
Yes.
split, then just give it to her and
Fine.
before it goes into Quicken. have it done.
I have never get a copy, never,
well, I
of
think
what
that's
I'm being
changing.
billed for. I don't see the phone bill, I don't see anything, this is basically what I owe.
Have you ever, in all the years?
No,
How long you been here?
30 years.
Okay. So some things may be looked at. and
Yeah,
things
I
will
hope
be
so.
Moved along and we
I mean,
still
that's the
got
way it should
his
be.
budget and the
Pre-
road district, or the town budget, and everything has to come together.
And that's.
It's all
but-
gotta make
right.
sense.
And it makes it really difficult for me to budget when I don't know what I'm paying, except for what's on paper. I'm not seeing any invoices, not all of them.
Well, I guess that makes sense to
Yeah.
me, except that for 30 years you haven't been looking at this.
I have been looking at it. I have been looking at
So
it.
you do know what you're paying.
Yeah, off of here.
Can
And
we
only
pers-
the invoice, like Pam's, it's one,
We're talking
Bill.
about office procedures and not budget, okay? I believe.
no, it's not office procedures.
It's accounting.
We probably should work on it during the workday.
That's fine, but if you're gonna ask me questions, I'm gonna tell them what I'm experiencing. That is also time consuming. Takes me away from the day, the job itself.
Anything else?
Any more questions on the road district?
I have none.
All righty. The new business is simply is budget transfers, and the budget reports show these transfers already. So, what we're doing is we're transferring in the general fund from administrative expense to legal services, $5,000. So we're not over budget in legal services. And the assessor's budget, we're transferring from rent to programming software. We're transferring from the payroll expenses to the township to programming software. We're transferring from wages and payrolls to dues, travel, and training. And we're transferring from wages and payroll to utilities in these amounts. And the budget reports that you receive show those transfers and show where we are as of January 31st.
Is that after the transfer?
Yes. So they're in these budget reports in both cases. So there's a number of ways we can do this. We can take the transfers individually, but maybe what we want is one motion to approve all of these transfers listed that are also represented in the budget reports.
So moved.
I second.
Any other discussion? Let's have the clerk call the roll.
Okay, the motion
Here's all
was
the
to
transfers.
approve all of these fund
As listed in the agenda, yeah.
as listed on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Donnet,
Yes.
Susanna,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Zorn,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. So I believe now we are at, oh, wait a minute.
Executive session.
At the executive session. So what we're going to do is to adjourn to executive session, and then we will come out of executive session once that's completed and move and immediately adjourn. So there'll be no further business. So we don't need to have BATV.